Hmm. Okay. Well, yesterday I was really fucking out of it. I don't know what was going on yesterday, but hey, T God. Uh, I was just exhausted. I woke up. I slept plenty that night, but I woke up um and started streaming around like 9 or 10 or whatever. And then was just completely exhausted. Went to bed around noon. Slept until 5 p.m. And then just had a migraine all afternoon, and was just like laying in bed. Then slept a bunch more last night. But not as tired now, so hopefully. Hey, Zero Reason. Hey, Canon. Yeah, so now the goal for today is kill the hands. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I was not feeling up to it yesterday. Um, but we should be able to get through the hands today. And, we'll need to decide whether or not to release the True Eyes of Cthulhu. Um, I checked their attack cycle. I think it would be reasonable to line up their attack cycles with the Lawnmower. Um, the question is just, is it worth it? You joined the Discord yesterday? Yeah, I saw. How long have we been doing this for? Um, I think we're just about to hit the 50-hour mark. From what someone had said last stream. That's 5-0, not 1-5. So 6,084. A little under 9,000 HP left on the hands. But the thing is, we do about 17 to 1800 damage an hour if we're damaging both hands, but because the left hand has more HP than the right hand, we're only going to be hitting that damage pace for the next 2800 damage, and then we're going to have to deal about 3200 damage just to the left hand. Which would probably be at about half the speed. Oh, I think it'll take on 150, 100 to 125 hours. I don't know, Mossy. I will know once we kill the hands. At that point, we can make a reasonable estimation. But as of right now, I do not know how quickly I will deal damage to his top eye, and as a result, I can't make any estimates that would be based on actual data. They would just be random guesses. But we're not very far off from being able to start damaging his top eye, and at that point we can start actually making reasonable guesses. In fact, I'm the best Terraria player you've seen. Thank you. Here's another fun fact. Stick bugs, when they're eating leaves, you can like hear them crunching the leaves. That's fun. I was watching my stick bug eat this morning, and she was munching on leaves. Is it Wednesday? I think so. Yeah, yesterday was Tuesday, so that makes today Wednesday. Wednesday's the day when all the sales for like the weekly sales for the local grocery stores reset. Yo, chat, what is going on? Chat, what is going on? Not too much as of yet. I was talking about my stick bug earlier. Could hear him munch on leaves. I don't think it really showed up in the video that I sent because the fan was on. And it was really quiet anyway, but... The stick bug, she just goes up to a leaf and just starts cutting circles out of it. So she just leaves a bunch of leaves with semispheres taken out of them. You were just mocking A30? I don't know what that means. Is that a person? I don't know who that is. A streamer, Nick A30. Okay. Fun fact. I know like nothing about any streamers or YouTubers. I don't really watch them. So I'm not gonna get references like that. You're the I'm the king that guy? I don't know what that means. You're not the king, I'm the... I don't know what you're talking about, Navra. I mean, that's a coherent sentence, at least. Heat when Englica noit streams? No. No, I don't agree. He was doing a movie in Fortnite and his chat trolled him and he got really mad, so he banned everyone in the lobby. A movie in Fortnite? What does that mean? Like, watching a movie in Fortnite? Does it have, like, some kind of interface where you can, like, play something? Like, making a movie in Fortnite? Role-playing? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was, like, a tabletop sim type thing where Fortnite has some interface where you can, like, watch something. Because, like, in tabletop sim, you can just pull out a tablet and just, like, go to YouTube. Look into it, it's funny. I'm not going to. I don't really watch YouTubers or streamers or anything. I could say that I might, but that would be a lie. I'm just not going to. It's not a stream, it's a clip. Like, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to look into it. Do you know if you put toothpaste in your ear, you can feel the cool on the back of your throat? What? You know, I learned yesterday that I can just shove a slice of pizza and, like, scratch the back of my throat with it without gagging. I don't know why I was deep-throating a pizza yesterday. I just kind of felt like it. And then I scratched the back of my throat, and then my throat itched. You have some corn? I do love corn. I like, grilled corn. A lot. But I'm not allowed to make grilled corn anymore because I keep ruining the pans that I make grilled corn with. Because we don't actually have a grill, we just do it on the stove. And then it ends up, like, ruining the pan. I'm not allowed to make it anymore. But it's really good. Might get your friends to go for some corn. You just gonna go down to, like, the corn shop, get some corn? Is there a corn man? Can you acquire corn from him? You can't get the toothpaste out of your ear. Try a toothpick. That sentence is gonna take me a sec to read through. You're also really sick right now. You've been for a couple days. Every time you breathe. Every time I breathe, I fought. When I walk, I can't see. I get nauseous. Your bed is drenched in sweat. Your head hurts like crazy. Do you know what's wrong? Do you have, like, the flu? COVID? Sounds like some kind of, No, I don't think LSD would help very much. There's literally a guy who sells corn? Nice. Think a fever? A fever is a symptom, not a cause. I'm gonna turn this into a full shortened video? Yeah. That is, you're not sick because you have a fever. You have a fever because you're sick. I do that on 5,000% speed. No, I'm going to edit it. Super miserable, you can't even eat. Can you eat, like, soft foods? Like oatmeal or, like, a smoothie or something like that? You should eat. It's really difficult if you have, a really sore throat. You get thirsty every 30 seconds. Are you drinking water? That's a very short time frame to be thirsty for. Um, that's not really true, a T-God. Like, just because some people can go 2 weeks without eating does not mean that you can go 2 weeks without eating, especially based on how healthy you had been before you stopped eating. Um, and even if you go 2 weeks without eating and then eat food, you still might die from health complications from having starved for weeks. Drinking very much water and Gatorade. Um, yeah, usually when I'm sick with things like that make it very difficult to eat, um, I just try for liquidy foods. Oatmeal, applesauce, soups, stuff like that. Um, if you can't eat any of those, then I don't really know what to say on that front. You had soup, but you couldn't finish it. Well, as long as you're eating something, better than nothing. Sounds pretty serious, though. Have you seen a doctor? No. Have you considered it? If it's something like a throat infection, or strep or something like that, you might be able to get antibiotics prescribed that could help. Or just things to like reduce inflammation if your throat's inflamed. It's not at all in your throat. I thought you said your throat was really hurting and you couldn't like eat food. Oh, you feel sick when you eat. I don't know. If I was in your position, I probably would have seen a doctor like a day or two ago. Um, threw up like 3 times in a row. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a fairly severe um, illness. Not really much advice I can give other than just go see a doctor. Especially after having, um, like, having it happen several days in a row is the point where I'd be like, okay, it's time to see a doctor. You know, if it's one thing if it happens like during a day you sleep it off and then you feel better, but if it's been like several days of this, especially if it doesn't feel like it's getting better, remedies for a stomach infection. It would just be pure speculation on what it might be. I'm not a doctor, nor even if I was a doctor, could I diagnose him based on a couple of symptoms that he self-reports online. Haven't you traveled long distance? You're like 12 or something. It's not better than you go tomorrow to the doctor, but thanks for talking to you. It's nice to have someone to distract you. Yeah, no problem. Hope you do get better. I haven't really been sick like that for a long time. Last time I remember anything like that was, it wasn't even a sickness, it was just like a bunch of pain. Was when I got my wisdom teeth removed. The recovery period after that was very painful. And I was bedridden for like quite a while and couldn't really eat food. Yeah, I don't really get sick too often, all things considered. At least not with anything severe. Which is nice. You haven't gotten a fever at all in like 3 years. Well, I'm sure that streak will get broken eventually. You skipped like 2 or 3 streams and Moonlord's hands are just gone. Well, I've been putting in a lot of work to try to kill them. They're still not really gone. It's still like another, probably like 5 hours, if not longer, before their HP is fully depleted. And then I need to make the decision about whether or not I release the true eyes or not. I really don't know. Because the thing is, a lot of the phantasmal eyes here are not even hitting me. Whereas the True Eye Phantasmal Eyes would pretty much always be hitting me. I think they shoot twice in the time frame. You'd say that's not going to go too well if I release the True Eyes. Based on what? What is that based on? Realistically, I would probably get hit by the same number of bolts and homing eyes and whatnot. That's fine. You have a rash on your face now? That's new? Does it feel like it's getting worse? Everyday new things. That's not good. It'll do a ton of damage, make it hard to deal with the top one. Gonna go better if you get them all down to a small HP. What makes you say they're going to do a ton of damage? What is that based on? Because their damage values are the same as the side eyes. Their phantasmal death rays are meaningless. They will never hit me. Their spheres do the same amount of damage as these spheres. So do their bolts and homing eyes. And if I line up those cycles, there would only be one entity attacking me, essentially, as opposed to now where I have two entities attacking me. Now, their phantasmal spheres would be more accurate, but there would be fewer of them coming at me. I also would not have to worry about the Moonlord healing back damage to his hands. Like when you tried to sleep, your body sunk and it felt like you were sleeping upside down. Like vertigo? Their dashes and the duplicates they produce sometimes? What do you mean duplicates? The True Eyes don't duplicate themselves. And their dashes do no damage. That's not a concern. They pull a Shadow Clone Jutsu or something and they charge. That's not a thing. They don't do that. They only have 4 attacks. Phantasmal Spheres, where they make a circle of these eyeballs around them that they shoot at you. And they do kind of, like, thrust themselves at you when they do that. But their dash, when they're doing that, it does, like, no damage whatsoever. At least with the amount of defense that I have. They have the laser attack, which is the same one that he's doing here. He shoots out 2 bolts. They make duplicates and charge at you. They don't... Yeah, that's the same attack as what they're doing right here. Those are the same eyeballs as this. They just make them in a circle around them instead of popping out the spheres here. And they do the same amount of damage. And the dash part of it deals, like, no damage. The sphere deals, like, 220 damage. The dash deals, like, 120. And you're going to get iframes from the sphere anyway, so the dash part is irrelevant. They have the homing attack like that. They have the laser bolt attack. The main advantage to it would be that it gives me more leeway for setting up the teleporter to attack the Moonlord's top eye, because I don't have to worry about sitting here and having clots spawn to go back and heal him, because he won't have any valid entities to heal. So maybe I will assess how effective my teleporter is at damaging the top eye. If it needs to be moved around, I may have to release the True Eyes, because otherwise I don't really see a way that I could move that teleporter without having him heal back all the damage that I had dealt. Because I'd have to sit here for a little while. Imagine Moonlord had a desperation phase and just transformed to get more powerful. I mean, it'd make the fight more difficult, I guess. Do more damage and get a protective barrier or something. If the Moonlord could simply choose to deal more damage and have a protective barrier, why would he not be doing that the entire time? Usually desperation phases, like, reduce the boss's defense or make them more vulnerable, so it's like they deal more damage and take more damage. If they could simply choose to deal more damage and also take less damage, why would they not do that to begin with? Also, I think second phases like that are way overdone in a lot of games. Like, it was one of the things that I felt was exhausting about Calamity Mod, is just everything had so many phases. Like, it felt like most bosses had like 4 or 5 phases. And like, yeah, surprise second phases or things like that can be really fun and interesting when done in moderation, but when every single boss has them, it just kind of gets like, okay, when do we get to the actual fight? And it works better in some types of games compared to other types of games. I don't think it works very well in Terraria type games. What is my build / items? Hollowed Mask, Valhalla Knight Chestplate, Valhalla Knight Greaves, Shiny Stone, Brain of Confusion, Hero Shield, Berserker Glove, and Cross Necklace, along with a Bat Statue, Campfire, Hout Lantern, Pocket of Honey, Sunflower, apparently, Ion Skin Potion, Regen Potion, and Pumpkin Pie. Even if you had the chance, you wouldn't play Calamity? I mean, why? Calamity's fine. You heard Hollow Knight for a second? What did I say that sounded like Hollow Knight? Oh, Valhalla Knight. Yeah. Okay. Starlight River's not done yet, so I'm not going to play Starlight River. I think I have 130 defense, which is quite low. I'd much rather have... I could have had 142 or 154 if I had managed to kill the wall of flesh on expert mode. Best part of Calamity is definitely the music. Calamity had some nice music, but I'll be honest, I forgot most of it. I don't remember its music very well. The composer then, DM Dokuro, is really talented. I remember there being good music, I just don't really remember the music besides the main menu theme, because I had the jukebox, or whatever, music box, at my base the entire time, and it kept playing. And Aquatic Scourge's theme, just because I fought Aquatic Scourge a lot. To me, the track that I never... Yeah, I know, Phoenix. It's really shitty what the Calamity community did to him. The song that I never really understood people being really hyped about was Yaron's song. I didn't really like that song that much, not gonna lie. I don't remember it super well, I just remember not liking it that much. Yaron or Yarim? Yarim hasn't been added to the game yet, right? Just to be sure, debuffs, flask, potion that deal damage are not valid. Yes, they're not valid. They also wouldn't do anything. The Lawnmower is not a melee weapon. You couldn't use flasks or fire gauntlet or anything like that. The only one I guess I might be able to use and have it do anything would be like an Inferno potion, and yeah, that'd be against the rules. Yeah, like I said, Yarim has been added to the game. I was talking about Yaron. I just didn't really like that song that much. But yeah, that's a ton of weird bosses, a lot of worms, and overall just more progression needs to be done. Well, yeah, but you say that like it's bad. Like, they're not bad. They're just different. And, you know, I don't feel like you'd know whether or not you'd like it until you tried it. Especially if you haven't done modded Calamity yet. Sorry, modded Terraria yet. Yeah. I think at the very least it's worth a try. A lot of people do really like it. And most people's issues with it are more regarding the, like, community than the mod itself. Although the mod itself does certainly have issues. Yes, everyone got hyped because it was the first out of 2 songs with lyrics. I don't like songs with lyrics that much is the thing. You know, there are some exceptions, but the lyrics just felt weird to me when they came on. It was kind of like, oh, there's a guy singing. Why is there a guy singing? That feels weird. Here's the thing, there were little to no good weapons from Melee before the Labor of Love update, so you have to go multi-class. What? 1, there were most certainly good Melee weapons before the Labor of Love update. 2, Calamity mod adds melee weapons. Like, the mod adds a ton of weapons. I would say it adds too many weapons. But there are tons of fine weapons. In fact, Calamity mod adds, like, a bunch of very interesting melee weapons that have very unique effects. You meant vanilla against flying bosses like the twins? Light discs from the Destroyer are a fine option. Although I guess, actually, did they rework light discs in 1.4.4? Might have been that. Shadow Flame Knife. Napra. Shadow Flame Knife. Shadow Flame Knife is great against the twins. But why are we talking about pre 1.4.4? Like, mobile's on 1.4.4. If we're not talking about Calamity mod, why are we talking about before the Labor of Love update? You have two different versions. Are you playing the version that was like 1.2? Because that's a completely different story. One point 4.0. What bosses are in it? Nah, bro. Everything except Empress of Light and Queen Slime. That is 1.3, not 1.4. The Moonlord is in it. It's 1.4.0.5.1. That's not... You're confusing mobile versions with PC versions. Mobile does not use the same versions as PC, I think. If it doesn't have Empress of Light and Queen Slime, it's not 1.4. Here's a good question. How far have you made it in the game, Nabra? Like, on that version, what's the furthest you've been? I can probably iron out the exact update based on details you give me. How can you prove it is? Just answer the questions. What's the furthest you've been on that game version? How far have you gotten in the game? You've played in Journey, you've waited, you've tried to get the Queen Slime summoning item. Well, the game version is either bugged because it was a pirated copy, or you're just not getting them correctly. Those two bosses are in 1.4. I best look everywhere later. Why not just play, like, the legitimate copy? Like, why play on that one? If it's outdated and, potentially scuffed. Hey, Webfish. Okay. I had to pass 150k. You want to ask me this, ever played FNAF? No. I do not have any interest in playing FNAF. I somehow keep widening the gap between these two. I don't understand why. I guess I'm just increasing my DPS against the right hand. Which is why we've been going up to like 17 or 1800 instead of 1600 an hour. Haven't played Dead Cells in a while. I haven't either. I haven't played it since I beat boss level 5 on, or boss stem 5 on stream. Mostly because I've been doing this. Which hasn't really let me play anything else. You're pretty OP build, you can just keep healing infinitely. Did you pause in the middle of a playthrough? I slid from 2,500 up to 3,400. I guess just because I've been DPSing this right hand quickly. Does it... I don't think it really changes anything, though. If anything, it probably just... I don't know what any of that means, Nabra. I think those are things that are added in the DLC. I've never seen any of those items before. Well, I think I saw Frenzy, but... I don't... The only blood sword I know does not heal you. It just causes bleeding, and I don't know what blood drinker augmentation thing means. Unless it just causes you to gain life off of bleeding enemies. Morning, Cooper. Version of Random Gods is this? I think this is Random Fate. Check. Yeah, it's Random Fate. It causes bleeding with the crazy science you get the blood drinker thing. When you hit a bleeding target, you heal 3% your max HP. Okay. Last night was pretty fun. You were up till like 1 a.m. or something like that? What were you doing? So many jokes told and so many laughs. You're just hanging out with friends, I assume? Bed cells? I like bed cells. I was playing bed cells most of yesterday. Alright, we're gonna have to switch to only dealing damage to the left hand soon. I think once I get this one down to 1,000, I'm gonna just damage the left hand. Want to make sure to leave wiggle room in case I accidentally hit it. Don't want to pop out that eye. Yeah, I guess that's the price I pay for dealing 1,800 damage an hour, is that it's largely focused on the right hand. Which is why our damage discrepancy has slowly been increasing. Oops. Why did you get recommended spiders on drugs? I don't know. YouTube recommendations are weird. 3 DPS? We get up to 4 DPS sometimes, but it's not really true. That's not our true DPS. The DPS meter is lying. That just means there was 1 second where we dealt 4 DPS. But there are a lot of seconds where we're dealing 0 DPS, so our average is like a third or half of a DPS. At 0.43? Yeah, that sounds about right. And that's going to go down quite a lot when we have to start attacking the left hand only. Probably under half, because just a little under half. Did you realize Moonlord's been hitting the gym? What gains? Have you seen before and after pics? How do you know they're gains and they're not just, you know, he wasn't born that way? What gym would take an Elder God? I don't know. Did you ask Planet Fitness? Is it gonna get any faster when I destroy the eyes? I think it will be faster once we are done with the hands. It's actually gonna get slower. For a brief moment. Because of the damage discrepancy between the two hands. The right hand is at 1786, the left hand is at 5217. We're going to have to stop attacking the right hand and only attack the left hand. Instead of dealing damage to both of them. So we're actually going to go down a little bit in damage soon. But once we start attacking the top eye and the core, I think our damage will be higher than the hands. Certainly way to pass time till the next update. Well, on that note, I do want to finish this before the next update. It'd be a bit awkward if 1.4.5 dropped in the middle of this. I'd see a Nappa. Yeah, the goal for today is to be done with the hands. Either kill them or just keep them alive while I attack the top eye. I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided whether the True Eyes of Cthulhu are worse than just the hands as they are. Here's another way of thinking of it. I have to be able to survive the 2 True Eyes of Cthulhu. Like, there's no functional difference between surviving 2 True Eyes of Cthulhu and surviving 1 True Eye of Cthulhu. Assuming I align those cycles, which is what I want to do anyway. And I have to be able to survive the True Eye of Cthulhu in order to do his last phase. And the top eye really doesn't add any meaningful damage whatsoever. It does the laser, which is easily avoided, and occasional low damage laser projectiles, which I could probably wouldn't even do very much damage to begin with. So I have to be able to survive the True Eyes anyway. So why not just pop them out now? Would it be easier? Would it be more difficult? I don't know. But I don't think it would be much different attacking the top eye with 2 True Eyes of Cthulhu out as it would attacking the core with 3 True Eyes of Cthulhu out. You know, the teleporting would be a little bit different, and I'd have to make sure to avoid the top eye death ray, but you finished Gorm's food list? Nice. You still should have listened to what I said, though. About Hunter. Did you do that before or after finishing his campaign? Before? Nice. How far have you gotten in his campaign? Like, do you know... what have you done? progression mode. It looks like you've been wandering. Well, if you've done anything and it's had different results than going there with a different slug cat, I'd consider that to be gaining information. That makes sense. Did you get told the 5 pebbles and we just told you were fat and stupid? Did you listen to the other things he said? Western Farmways. Yo, Farmways, reindeer. Everybody loves reindeer. There's really no reason for me to pay attention to dealing damage to the right hand now that I think about it. Aside from just making sure that I don't kill it. Because we're being bottlenecked by the left hand. So all I have to do is just make sure that I deal damage to the left hand. I don't have to care about the right hand at all. It'll get whittled down with the rest of it. So plan for True Eyes. Just sit there and tank them. Why? Because it's the most effective way of dealing with them. I mean, I don't really have much of a choice. Kinda gotta sit still. Someone bought my "You have been insulated for 2,000 caps." I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Take a sip of water real quick. Getting kind of hot in my room. I'm gonna go check the temperature. Make sure the AC is on a good setting. Probably go run to the bathroom too. I'll be back in a minute. Gotta just fix something real quick. Okay. And back to damaging that left hand. So 4,976 to go. At the pace of maybe 5 to 6 damage per teleport. Teleport's 20 seconds. Ish. Let's say 5 damage per teleport for simplicity. It should be 15 damage per minute. Not a lot. Times 60. Uh, 9. Hold on. Yeah. 900. It should be around about 5 hours, probably. A little low for that. Which is definitely doable today. Probably not this stream, but by the end of the day, I should be able to do the necessary damage. And if we can bump that up to 6, that's another, what, 180 damage? Which should be 1,000. It should be a little under 5, so... I really hope that teleporter up there is positioned in a way that's going to make hitting the top eye easy. Because if I have to reposition that teleporter, it's going to get a bit awkward. It will only get better at lingering as that death ray is coming, because I can hit the left hand for 1 damage if I pause. Not if it comes from the... Like, that was like 6 or 7 damage. It's a bit of inconsistency. Maybe we're going to average a bit higher than 5. Maybe 5 was a lower end estimate. Needs to linger for longer. And that worked really well. Rapid teleporting to swing it back? Hold on. Okay, I can actually deal a pretty significant amount of damage there before his death ray comes. If I play my cards right. Immediately come over here. It is... and closing is being annoying. Move more consistently. Okay. Minimum I can hit it like a couple times. I had to eat the death ray there. That's a really narrow window. It might not even be very consistent trying to... Hit it again. Okay. I don't know. I think if I have iframes from something else, I can linger there for long enough to hit it, but it's not worth risking eating a death ray. Just to get in 1 point of damage on the hand. Yeah, if I... The hand wants to, like, stick there, so if I do those quick teleports like that, I can get a lot of damage in. Let's see. It's gonna close. Ah, but it went high. Damn it. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that was 8 damage. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Okay, 5. Ah, but I lingered too long. Now I can't go back till that tongue comes back. Okay, I think it'll be a little under 5 hours. I think I've got good damage strats for this. Come back here. Open hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9. Damn it. I was too greedy. I should have just... I went in for the extra hits. I shouldn't have done that. Because now we miss out on like a whole cycle of damage. Okay, let's try it again. Hand opens. Oh, it was too high. I don't know what to do about when the hand goes up like that. Seems to just be a random fluctuation. good damage. Hey, Shovel. That's what I want to do. That cycle right there. Hit him a bunch here. I'm fast. Okay. I can get in like 1 or 2 hits there. Bring him in. And we're dealing basically no damage to the right hand, but that's fine. We don't need to deal damage to the right hand. When we need to deal damage to the right hand, we can change back to the old strategy. The third best song of the Rain World soundtrack. What are number 1 and number 2? If you don't say Sheer Ice Torrent and Veiled Northstar, you're dead to me. You know what those are? They're on the DLC soundtrack. You only listen to the ones you've heard in-game. Fair enough. Down to 4761. I'm liking the pace I'm dealing damage to this left hand. We've gone considerably above 5 now that we've ironed out a good strategy. I guess we do run the risk of things like that, where I think overall it's worthwhile trying to get that extra bit of damage in at the end, because we don't usually mess it up. And the extra, like, 2 hits I get in are better than, you know, every 10 or 20 times missing out on the couple of hits that I get before the laser. $46.38. I need to shake the habit of attacking the right hand. I'm still like, the muscle memory is there trying to get me to deal damage to that hand, even though I'm trying to redirect my focus. Alright, past 4,600. I think it's way to improve my overall damage and decrease the time. Was it fully optimized? I mean, I'm sure you could optimize it more, but, like, I'm not going to do it in the middle of the fight. I'm sure you could find a way to fully automate this in a way that would be very optimized, but I'm not going to do that because that would take all of the... everything that would be remotely interesting about this out of it. Where's the fun in being optimized? The fact that this whole thing is being held together with wire, sticks, and duct tape is like half the fun. Okay, past 4,500. But risky? What's risky? Not being optimized? It's just slow. It's not risky. Something unpredictable happened, it could cause trouble. I don't really think there's anything unpredictable that could happen. I've accounted for all the variables. Like, there are no events that could happen, because you can't get blood moons or eclipses during the Moonlord, so that's not going to be an issue. There are no enemies that could spawn that would be a threat to me, and even if they did spawn, I could just teleport away and despawn them. The Moonlord doesn't have unpredictable attacks. He's exceedingly predictable. So there's no surprises that are going to happen there. We're not on the surface. There's not going to be like falling stars or anything like that. NPCs are too far away to deal anything, and there's a wall between me and them, so they wouldn't be able to deal damage to the Moonlord even if they could. Any challenges in mind after this one? I probably will not play Terraria for a little while after finishing this. Only variable you pop one eye out of time. Yeah, but I just have to make sure not to do that. They can spawn with battle pots. They can spawn regardless time death. Like, there have been lava slimes that have shown up, but there's nothing that can spawn in this region of the world that would be a threat to me, is what I meant. When the Moonlord teleports away, it drops his effect around you, and sometimes it can cause enemies to spawn. But we are in the middle of the underworld in which lava slimes spawn. And I guess you might occasionally get some, actually, I'm not even sure if nighttime mobs spawn. This area, I'm pretty sure it's just lava slimes. I really did a number with the damage discrepancy between these two. We're just now hitting back to 3,000. Fraction of a second too late. Alright, about to pass 4,300. Game drive in mind. I mean, I've had different things that I've thought about doing, but, like, this is still going to take a week or two to finish after this, probably. And then I'm also going to spend time editing videos after that, so, like, I don't have anything concrete on an agenda to play. I'm going to decide when I get closer, but, like, I've thought about trying Rain World blindfolded, or trying to do a speedrun of Dark Souls 1 on a dance pad, but, like, I really don't have a concrete idea of what I'd be doing, because it's not soon. We're not close to being done with this. And even when we are done with it, it's still going to be a little while before I stream again, because I'm going to have to edit stuff. One important thing to know is that I don't really have plans. Like, I don't plan things out very much. And I also have to do a cooking stream for hitting 10k after this. But I usually don't plan things. And when I do plan things, I don't plan them very far in advance. Maybe like a couple days. Like, people have been asking me nonstop, oh, what's your plan for the top eye? What's your plan for the core? I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. I'll figure it out when I get there. There's like teleporters there. I'll probably just use those. I don't know. Yeah, more or less. If I knew what I was going to do ahead of time, why, where's the fun in figuring out how to do it, you know? Same reason that, like, I wouldn't watch somebody else do a challenge run of something I was considering doing. It's because I would not want to know how they did it. Because that would then influence how I would do it, and I want to just figure out how to do it myself. Maybe after I finished it, I would see how somebody else did it, see how they did something differently than me. But beforehand, no. Figure it out myself. Alright, about to pass 4,200. Alright. So the Lawnmower's a fixed damage, not much to do about damage stuff. I mean, if there were things to do with it in damage stuff, it wouldn't be the same challenge. Like, if you could buff the Lawnmower to be effective, beating the game with a Lawnmower would not be very difficult. The fact that you can't do that is what makes it, like, a really difficult challenge. Compare it to, like, Copper Short Sword, which, when we did Copper Short Sword only Moonlord, he was dead, like, 15 hours ago. Compared to how long we've been fighting him with the Lawnmower. Because you can buff the Copper Short Sword. It does actual damage. And it's a completely different, like, magnitude of challenge, as a result. Or even something like Broken Wooden Hammer. You could still use Ichor Flasks. It's able to hit more consistently. You can use damage over time effects, potentially, if those are in the rules, as something you allow. The Lawnmower being awful is what makes it the Lawnmower. Has anyone ever done this challenge before? No. I doubt anyone would after this, either. I don't even think anyone beat the game with a flare gun or copper short sword, after I did those. Let alone the Lawnmower, which is, like, way worse than any of those. Is something worse than the Lawnmower? I don't think so, no. I would consider the Lawnmower to be the worst damage-dealing item. Damage-dealing, like, weapon that you use in the game. The only things that I think could be argued as potentially being worse would be, like, wooden hammer, maybe paper airplanes, but I think lawnmower is worse. What's the plan with top? I don't have one. But there's like a teleporter. I'll probably just use that. Teleporter right there. I'm just gonna use that. But like, I haven't actually tested it. I just kind of put it there. And if it doesn't work, we'll just play around with it. Find something else that works. Thank you, Mossy. So, like I said earlier, I'm not going to kill the hands this stream, but I am going to kill the hands today. So I need to decide how much damage I want to deal to the hands this stream. Probably at least another hour, and then I'll reassess how I'm feeling. I'd see you, Wetfish. Have fun. Alright, not too far from passing 4,000. Ye again? Do you mean hi? Four 7 8 5 2. Oh, you think I'm menacing? Thank you. Hey, Setio. Oh. I'm gonna eat food. I'm probably gonna have some hot dogs for dinner tonight. I've got to, So, my schedule tonight's gonna be a little weird. You know, unless I, like, lose power or lose internet, I'm going to kill the Moonlord's hands tonight. Or at least get them down to the almost dead and then start working on the top eye. But I need to plant. Like I said, my sister and I got a rose bush and a blackberry bush to help feed the stick bug, because they eat rose and blackberry leaves. And we need to plant that outside today. Be a rotten egg only playthrough would be harder because of limited access to them. I mean, in a rotten egg only playthrough, you would just cheat in infinite rotten eggs. Otherwise, like, it just wouldn't be, like, feasible. When I did bouncy dynamite only, I just cheated in infinite bouncy dynamite. Because, like, otherwise, you would be spending 95% of the run spending, like, hundreds and hundreds of hours whacking trees to get rotten eggs. And it wouldn't be more difficult, it would just be more time-consuming getting the ammunition. When you're actually fighting the bosses themselves, I think the bosses would be easier. You just probably set up like an AFK farm to automate whacking eggs and whacking trees for eggs, and then just run it all the time. Yeah, I need to plant a rose bush and a blackberry bush outside, which is going to be later today. And then we also have to go shopping. Yeah, see, there's that lava slime I was talking about. This one right there. Kind of hard to see with the visual effect from the Moonlord. Okay, and we're at past 4,000. Hey, Wuya. I am doing well, yeah. Hope you're doing well. Could be done, beat the game bone helmet only. I mean, I've done accessories only. You could, like, limit yourself to any one singular accessory, but if you wanted a more difficult accessory than the bone helm, you'd go for the Shield of Cthulhu, because the Shield of Cthulhu's damage is way worse than the bone helm. I'm sure you could Bone Helm only, but the problem with Bone Helm only, and with a lot of accessories only, is that it's pretty much completely non-interactive. You don't really play the game just kind of sits there and plays itself while you AFK, and as a result, they're very not fun to do. If you broaden yourself to all accessories only, you can get, like, Star Veil and, bees and stuff, and that's a bit more proactive because you're damaging yourself in specific ways to try to deal damage. But if you're just sitting there with the Bone Helm or like Spore Sack, you just sit there and do nothing. And that's not fun or interesting. It's the same issue that like NPC damage only has. Like beat the game only using NPCs. You don't play the game. Nothing happens. There would be, like, one interesting fight in the entirety of NPC damage only, and that's the Wall of Flesh, and then everything else would be not interesting at all. Because if you just make, like, an invincibility machine or something, and you put NPCs nearby, if you want to don't dig up seed and there's no time limits, like, they will die. The bosses, eventually, because the NPCs will just die and then respawn. And you can't die, so... you just sit there AFK forever and eventually the bosses die. And, like, you could make more proactive setups than that, but, like, why? But yeah, strictly speaking, the most difficult item that deals damage to try to beat the game with, solely using that damage, I don't know, a single paper airplane? Probably. Like if you had one singular paper airplane that you had to try to beat the entire game with. I feel like that would be really difficult. But I'm not even sure, because if you allow, like, frost armor, then any paper airplane is going to be really effective. Lawnmower's probably worse. The problem is, I don't know how you'd kill the Wall of Flesh with a single paper airplane. And you'd also have to, like, every single time you throw it, you'd have to retrieve it, which would really limit your damage. I mean, if you did single paper airplane with frost armor, it would probably be pretty manageable. Because of ranger buffs. the paper airplane's base DPS is still only 4. Like, ranger buffs are only going to go so far. And it's not like you're going to be able to inflict Ichor or get a sharpening station. You know, you could compare it to the Copper Short Sword, because the base damage of the Copper Short Sword is 5. Except the Copper Short Sword can also get modifiers to make its base damage higher, but 5 base damage on the Copper Short Sword compared to 4 on the Paper Airplane. The Paper Airplane cannot have modifiers. The Copper Short Sword can. And the Copper Short Sword also benefits from the Ichor Flask and the Sharpening Station. The Paper Airplane gets neither. And the Copper Short Sword still only did like 1, 2, 3 damage to a lot of late game enemies and bosses. I feel like there's not really anything in hard mode that you deal more than 1 damage to with the Paper Airplane, outside of crits, except for like Phase 3 Duke Fishron, Phase 1 Twins, maybe. You'd need like 50% damage buffs. Actually, no, you need more than that. Just to deal more than 1 damage to the Phase 1 Twins. And in doing so, you have to optimize so hard for damage that you'd have really bad survivability. And yeah, if you miss the Paper Airplane, it's gonna sit there floating in midair until it hits something. I'm not even sure you could beat the game with a single Paper Airplane. Just because of the Wall of Flesh, because, you would need to simultaneously... You'd basically have to, like, point blank the Wall of Flesh, similar to the Lawnmower or Copper Short Sword. Except you need to deal enough DPS with the Paper Airplane, which I don't know if you could do with a single one. And you'd also need to make sure you pick up the Paper Airplane every single time you throw it. You'd probably need to, like, equip a treasure magnet just to make sure that you get it. If you could kill the Wall of Flesh, then I think it would, you know, technically be possible. But to kill the Wall of Flesh, you usually have somewhere in the ballpark on a large world of like 10-ish minutes, I think. It's weird because the Wall of Flesh speeds up, but let's say 10-ish minutes. Just for the sake of making a calculation. You need to deal 8,000 damage in 10 minutes. Which means you need to deal 800 damage a minute, which means you need to be dealing, what is that, like 12 DPS? A bit more than 12. I think like 13 or 14 DPS. Which, like, is really difficult if you have a single Paper Airplane to work with. With mods that could increase the world size, it could be possible. Maybe, yeah. Or if you were to set the difficulty lower because of Journey. If you had multiple Paper Airplanes, I think you could do Wall of Flesh with Paper Airplanes. But with just a single one, there's so much downtime between your attacks, I just don't think you could get the damage for it. $10 minutes might have been a lowball estimate, though. You might have more time than that. I think it takes like 20 minutes for the wall of flesh to cross the entire world at its minimum speed that it spawns at, roughly. But then it speeds up as you deal damage to it, so it's weird. You don't always have a consistent amount of time. Yeah, we could barely get the wall of flesh to be killed on classic with the lawnmower. I do think there are some weapons that might not be able to kill the wall of flesh. You could hardlock if you don't pick up paper airplane time and the wall of flesh just passes it by. But that's not a hardlock, Mossy. Like, it's not hardcore. You could just die and then go back and pick it up. You just fail the fight. And even if you did fail the fight that way and you couldn't pick it back up, that still wouldn't be a hardlock. A hardlock is like the game crashing after a certain point in progression and making it impossible to progress. Oh, you were talking about it in hardcore. Fair enough. Even still, that would be a soft lock, not a hard lock. A soft lock is when you do something that makes progression impossible. You can still play the game is still running, but you're unable to beat it. A hard lock is when, like, the game dies or crashes or your save gets corrupted or something like that, and you can't even, like, run the game. Or it's completely impossible because the game just, like, stops functioning. Soft locking in Terraria would be, like... Can you even soft lock in Terraria? I think there might be one or two methods taking characters from other worlds that could potentially soft lock. I think you can break the altar. Yeah, if you were to break Golem's altar with bringing in a picksaw or a better pickaxe on a world that hasn't beaten Golem yet, and just, like, delete the altar from the world, that would soft lock the game because there'd be no way to progress past Golem because you could never summon him. You'd have to, like, bring one in from another world. Whereas a hard lock would be like, your game got corrupted and you can't launch it, or like, anytime you kill the twins, the game just crashes and it's impossible to make progress past that point. A hard lock would be if a pillar fell below the map. No, that would be a soft lock. Because you can still play the game normally, you're just unable to progress. The game's still functioning. A hard lock would be if, when you killed the lunatic cultist and the pillars tried to spawn every single time without fail, the game just crashed. And it made it so that you physically could not kill the cultist without the game crashing, and it's impossible to make progress by virtue of that. Or another soft lock would be like if for some reason the old man just never spawned and you could never summon Skeletron. Or the cultists never spawned and you could never summon the cultists for whatever reason that might be. Those can't go below the surface layer. Maybe there's something weird on Get Fixed Boy that could cause it to happen. I don't know how Get Fixed Boy's pillars work. If they're, like, just placed in space in a certain spot in the world and they don't move from there, or if they, like, try to adjust. I'm not very familiar with pillars spawning mechanics. It got patched, but in some circumstances they could. It's kind of complicated. I see. Yeah, another example of a soft lock would be, I think there was a point in time where this could happen in some seeds. Let's say the jungle temple just never spawned. And as a result, you were never able to get to the golem's altar or get power cells, and you'd never be able to fight him. I think there might have been a glitch on Get Fixed Boy that made it so that sometimes, rarely, the temple wouldn't spawn. I think I remember seeing patch notes that said they fixed that. What happened to the HP bar? What do you mean? What changed about it? What are you referring to? Oh, that happens whenever he teleports. Whenever he teleports, his core is temporarily despawned from the world. So the HP from his core is subtracted from his total HP. So when he teleports and he loses 75,000 HP, it's because his core is not treated as existing for a moment. He had a soft lock glitch on an old iOS world when 1.3 first came out. I got the Martian probe to spawn, but it glitched and wouldn't spawn the invasion enemies, which prevented the cultists from spawning. Yeah. Yeah. That always happens with the Moonlord. It's not anything specific to what's going on here. It's just easy to miss if you're not paying attention. Because, one, the Moonlord usually doesn't teleport too often, unless you're specifically trying to get him to teleport. And two, there's so much going on with the fight that you usually aren't paying that close attention to the HP bar. I remember there was an old XCOM 2 Iron Man save that I had encountered a hard lock for. There was some mission, I think it was a mission with the Lost. The game was getting, like, super laggy over the course of it, and it reached a point where anytime that I let the aliens take their turn on a particular mission, the game would just crash. Without fail. And it made it so just I could not do anything. Like, I would move my soldier, alien turn would start, game would crash. And it was really disappointing, because, losing Iron Man saves like that is a real pain in the ass. we? I think we've reached the point with the number of items dropped in the world where if you left Moonlord with 1 HP without opening the core, teleport and somehow cause damage when the core is not spawned, could you theoretically kill it? I don't think so, no. I think it's just a visual glitch. I don't think it has any implications. You could test it out. You'd probably want to use a very slightly delayed signal with explosives. What you would do is you'd set up a teleporter like this, and then you'd probably set up a doubt trap with a cyan pressure plate. You would teleport with the teleporter, and you'd have it wired up to signal a doubt trap with the cyan pressure plate, so that shortly after you teleport, there would be an explosives that would detonate where the Moonlord's whatever you left with 1 HP was. And then you would teleport, you would make it to the other side of the world. The Moonlord's core would be despawned as he's teleporting in. The explosive would go off. It would deal the damage to finish off the eye. And that would be how you would test that. But yeah, now that we have reached the number of dropped items in the world where heart statues break, we can test whether or not one of the sources of crashing was items being dropped in the world. Because there was one point in time, if the game like crashes or breaks upon me pausing it and then trying to start it back up after this, I think I can reasonably say it's a result of that. And then I would go make like a line of probably planter boxes on top of the world to stop that from happening for the rest of the when we come back and bring it back if it crashes again. Because I did notice that the times that the heart statues had started breaking also happened to coincide with the game crashing. So the two may be related. Alright, almost down to 3,500. Could be fixed. It could. If we find out that that is the issue, I could set up the world in a way so that falling stars do not hit any herbs, because the thing that's causing items to drop in the world are herbs on the surface that are growing, like Deathweed, Shiverthorn, probably I think there's some Blinkroot. And over time, falling stars are falling and hitting them and causing them to drop as items and drop seeds. And they're also hitting like mushrooms and whatnot. And I could set up the world in a way that prevented falling stars from hitting anything. Which would stop that from happening. Would be unfortunate though, because the Hout statue, what's the max item cap? 400. But you don't reach the item cap. Like, reaching the item cap wouldn't cause the game to crash. It just causes old items to despawn when new ones are placed. And you also don't reach the... It's not at 400 items that the Hout statues start breaking. It's at a couple hundred. I don't know why they break. Mike Hollett explained it to me at one point, but I don't remember the details. Could it be because of overgrown vegetations, plantera bulbs, and whatnot? Why would it be because of those? It doesn't crash while I'm playing. It crashes when the game tries to continue running after I wake it from putting my PC to sleep. But why would it be because of those, Mossy? What's the logic there? Alright, deactivating parallax in background. But why? Like, what would this accomplish? Like, why would it cause the crash? What's the... What is the issue, and what would changing that fix? If you left the game paused for a long enough time, there was some reporting that that would cause the game to crash. Okay, I can try it. Do you have more details regarding that? Can you find whatever, like, forum post it was that reported that? I assume something like that was probably posted on the Terraria forums. I think that's where most of Terraria's bug reports are given. Okay, we're down below 1,000 on the right hand. 991? 991. Almost 3333. Alright, stop dealing damage to that hand. Left hand. Left hand's the one I want. Hey, Jokey. Some quick questions? What's up? Do I leave the game minimized? No. Hey, Sharktails. But the RAM usage during pause time? No, I would assume the RAM usage is, when the game is paused, my PC is asleep. I don't use my PC when, like... I'm not using the game. Using my PC with the game alt-tabbed and paused. If the game's paused, my PC's asleep. Encountered a giant blue octopus? Nice. What'd you think of him? I don't let the PC turned on. The PC is set to sleep whenever I am not playing. It's just sometimes, not frequently, but sometimes, upon waking it back up, the game will have crashed. It's in sleep mode, yeah. He's so cool, but you're so fucking scared of him. He's a spooky boy. I assume this is in the underhang? You said you were in the leg, yeah? I believe in you. Underhang's a tricky area, though. A lot of platforming. In my opinion, it's one of the most difficult regions in the game, so on the bright side, once you get through with it, there's, I don't think it'll get more annoying than that. You need max cover to move to the next area? Yes. However, there is a lot of food. Did you find... Okay, so to get to the next area, it's a big giant room, right? Have you found a shelter close to that big giant room? There's a lot of food in the rooms around that big giant room. And by using those, you can grind up to max karma relatively easily. You could also try to grind a passage, and using a passage will get you to maximum karma. But that gate is where you want to go. Is enough to get to max karma. Food respawns over time. Like, every couple cycles, food will come back. So by alternating between food, it definitely can be enough, because when I was helping Nuzzle play Rain World a couple weeks ago, she had grinded up to max karma from nothing, using just the food around that area. Yeah, I would say before trying to grind karma, if you're at minimum, explore, the couple rooms around you, find where the food is, and you can also take food and store it in the shelter. Trying to get the Dragon Slayer thing. Okay. Depending on how many lizards you've killed, that may or may not be easy. Because you don't just need to kill lizards, you need to kill different color lizards. And You know, there's only so many color lizards you're going to find in any one given region. But yeah, you can store food as long as it's not a bat fly. It'll stay between cycles. So you can like carry back food and keep it in the shelter. Which can make it safer. You don't have to take out, you know. Once you've cleared a path, you can just, you know, ferry back food. But yeah, that is one of the more difficult karma gates to get through. Killed an orange and a white. Nice. Unfortunately, I think it would be rather difficult to try to get the rest of that passage inside of the underhang. You'd have to go to other regions. Although, what you could do, if you left the underhang, and then went out and got the Dragon Slayer passage or whatever, you could then passage back to the underhang, and you'd get there with maximum karma. That is an option. If you left to go somewhere else, and then got a passage, and then used the passage to get back there, you'd come back with maximum karma. Is it worth trying to kill bigger creatures? It's generally not worth trying to kill most creatures. If by bigger creatures you mean the giant blue octopus creatures, those are not remotely worth trying to kill. In general, killing things doesn't really accomplish very much. Aside from the obvious killing them. It usually ends up spending time, and it's risky. And it's not like you can eat them as food. Other slug cats can eat creatures as food, like Hunter. Which is why, you know, playing those slug cats, you'll try to kill those creatures. But when playing as just Survivor or Monk, it's really not worth trying to pick fights. Unless there's something specific you want that you know you'll get through that, through fighting something. Just to give you an idea, those giant blue octopus creatures, so your normal spear throw on like a regular thing without modifiers will deal, as Survivor, 1 damage. Those blue octopus creatures have 200 HP. And they take reduced damage if you hit their tentacles. It's pretty much completely futile trying to kill them with spears. If you wanted to try to find a way to fight them, you would have to... You're pretty much forced to do it with something more powerful than a spear. And usually multiple somethings more powerful than a spear. But it's almost never worth trying to kill them. Maybe it's fine if you're Spearmaster. Even Spearmaster, like, isn't gonna be able to generate enough spears quickly enough to kill one. Unless... yeah. You might have seen those scavenger guys walking around with, like, exploding spears. You'd want to bring weapons like that are a lot more powerful than regular spears if you wanted to kill something like that. And the blue octopus guys are outliers. Most enemies don't have anywhere near 200 HP. But they, in particular, are very much so a fuck you, don't fight this enemy. You know, even things like vultures or those sneep snot birds in memory crypts. Those only have, like, 10, 12, 13 HP. They're still feasible to kill. The blue octopus are just, like, giant middle finger. Unless you bring something specifically designed to kill this thing, you're not killing it. We got about 4,000 HP left on the hands. 3,000 on the left hand, 847 on the right. I'm working on DPSing down the left hand now. Kind of like the Leviathan? Yes. Leviathan, you wouldn't... It's, for all intents and purposes, just impossible to kill a Leviathan under normal circumstances. There are a couple things you could do to kill one, but you would need to know exactly what you're doing. And it would not be easy. They have 1,000 HP. And they're not vulnerable to anything. Certain enemies are vulnerable to specific types of damage. Like, as an example, those blue octopus guys are weak to explosions. Not like, you know, you throw one grenade at them and they're gonna die. But they'll take increased damage from explosives, so that 200 HP, you know, they're weaker against explosives. Which is why you want to bring exploding weaponry. But Leviathans have no such weakness. There's no weapon that's going to be dealing particularly increased damage to them. You'd have to try to cut through 1,000 HP to an enemy that's underwater and is moving around and insta-kills you. That doesn't get stunned. And you can only stockpile so many things in one shelter. I don't even think you could stockpile enough. Did an error message appear? I did get an error message, yeah. It didn't look particularly comprehensible. It looked very generic. It was, let me look at it. Take a screenshot of it. I don't know what that means, Time Death. Let's see. System object disposed exception cannot access a disposed object. Object name render target 2D. Okay. For some reason, HP Smote decided to give me a pop-up asking me if I wanted to update. No. I do not want to update. I don't even know why you're installed on this computer. I don't remember installing HP Smote. How much health does the left hand have? About 3,000. Send it on Discord. I can send it after the stream. Be a bit annoying to crop and send in the middle of the stream. Okay, now we broke 3,000. 29.99. It's gonna be a long stream. I'm not gonna do this all in one stream. I'm going to finish the hands later tonight. But I want to get them, at the very least, close. Do I lose progress? I don't know. Mossy. I don't know. The game's only, like, crashed, and given that error log once, and I didn't pay that much attention to the number of potions I had. The other times, the game just became unresponsive after waking it up. Which I think is just because I had a power fluctuation in the middle of the night while my PC was asleep and it didn't properly start back up when I woke up. The blue guy that follows you came back but then disappeared again. Feels like he comes back whenever he feels like it. That seems like a pretty accurate description. He didn't point you anywhere, he's just there. I don't know, maybe you look interesting. Maybe you look funny, maybe he's laughing at you. Maybe he just wants to sit there and watch you die every time and just laugh at you like, oh, look at this dumbass, he just fell off a cliff. don't know. Maybe something like that. Those hand health bars are only tiny slivers now. Okay. I thought that was the case, but it's good for confirmation. The side that the Moonlord's death ray seems to come out from seems to just be dependent on which side of him you're on. Like, if he's to your left, it'll come out from the left, and if he's on your right, it'll come out from the right. And he has like a little wiggle that he does from side to side as he hovers above you. Which is why it's not always consistent. Like here, he's slightly on my right, so it came out from the right. At least with him above you. That might change when you're like, in some other direction in relation to him. Like, if you're above him, it might change. Or if you're like, you know, up to his left or something. You don't like how Moonlord's nails look? Does he even have nails? Or does he just have fingers without nails? I can't look too closely. Yeah, you just saw them? Why does he have fingernails? He does have nails, yeah. Why? Why do you have fingernails? Why do you even have hands? You're not holding anything. I'm like, bro, you got these big-ass hands, you're not even using them. He could be, like, holding a gun or something, and he's not. They look unwashed? They're probably not. His beard hasn't been trimmed. Raggedy-ass moon motherfucker. If you consider the Moonlord's tentacles to be his hair, he's got a beard, which is extremely unkempt and wild. And then he's basically bald with sideburns. That's what those tentacles on the side are. Looks like he has hair on the back of his head. I don't see any. That's even worse. He's got sideburns and he's like balding on top. But he keeps the hair in the back with like a mullet. Moonlord got the Fit MC beard? I don't know what that means. Hey, Kuipers. Is your profile picture Monk? That reminds me. My favorite Minecraft YouTuber plays 2B2T. Okay, I understood the words Minecraft YouTuber plays. Yeah, hey Kuipers. I don't know what 2B2T is. Yeah, that reminds me. My favorite image in Rainworld, no rule server. Okay. Like in-game Rainworld artwork is the monk outer expanse ending if after you've gotten the I guess like the true ending over there is how I'll put it. Where it just looks like he's he has the major like mom I threw up energy. I love that image. Please? Please what? Whoops. There we go. You feel too unnoticed? I've read everything you've said out loud. Is your volume on? Okay. Bye. I'm just having the mental image of someone coming into the stream with the volume muted and then feeling sad because nobody's talking to them. You're lagging? Okay. It's hard hearing. Hey, Tammy. That's alright. I mean, if you're welcome to go find somewhere else. I'm mostly just hanging out here, relaxing. If you want to watch something else, you're more than welcome to. I assume they're talking about me. I have that effect on people. I command a powerful presence of fear that cloaks me in an aura of darkness. Imagine you're just chilling and I run up to you with a lawnmower. Yeah. You got a problem? Wallet on the table, now. Do you enjoy having a nose? Because you're not gonna. Not after I'm through with you. Your volume is maxed, it's too laggy for you? I'm not sure how those two things go together, but you don't have to stay if it's being too laggy to watch. You're welcome to find something that's more bearable with your internet connection. There's not really much I can do about your stream being laggy, though. It's not lagging on my end. Yeah, you can try turning down the quality. Unless you're talking to me, in which case, no, I already turned it down to 1280. I'm not turning it lower. Your quality is at 114. I mean, if you can't watch the stream, that's fine. But you don't have to keep, like, complaining about not being able to watch the stream. There's not really much I can do about that. And when I say there's not really much, that's a gentle way of saying I can't do anything about it. Buy them tickets out of Australia? That's the bottom quality. Yeah, I know. Okay, we're about to hit 2,500. I push to 2,000? Hold on, let me... It's been about 3.5 hours. I think I'm just gonna pause at, When Terraria freezes, can you still hear the game? The game audio is basically silent. There would be nothing to hear anyway. The music's turned off. Yeah, I think I'm going to pause at 2,500 And then pick up later today and hopefully kill him. Alright, see ya, Kai. We have 2 more to go. Out of all the Rain World avatars, you had to pick the saddest one? Or is that the crying monk reaching for Survivor? No, it's just unresponsive, Mossy. Task Manager says the game is responding, but, the game is completely unresponsive. It's not in the process of crashing, it's just completely unresponsive. And Windows does not recognize that it's unresponsive either. So it doesn't try to force close it. I'll just post the crash log in the server in a couple minutes, though, once I'm done with the stream. Like, I think it is just because I lost power when my computer was asleep and it didn't properly wake back up. Okay. Go ahead and... Okay. 2494 704 145 698 as our total. Okay, I will be back later today, unsure exactly when, and I am going to kill those 2 hands and start working on the top eye. Bye, everyone.